Hello all, welcome to my channel. I am Vivek Gaurav and I'll be teaching you dynamic programming. And before we proceed further, a humble request from my side. Please like and subscribe to my channel and also click on the bell icon so that you get notified every time a new video is coming up. Now, let's get started.
In this video, we are going to talk about Python while loops, and the topics we are going to discuss today is that what is while loop, syntax of while loop, using else with while loop, and we'll be looking at example. So like I did in the last video also with for loop, I was doing hands-on, so I'll request you again to pause the video from time to time and do the hands-on with me so that you can understand it in a better way. Okay. So now before we go ahead, let us just have a brief discussion about loop once again. Loop, it is a block of code which is used to execute a block of a statement without repeating the code. This is what loop is. We have seen two kind of loop, for loop. We have already understood for loop, and now we are going to talk about while loop. Okay. But before that, I want to tell you one thing, that whenever you start a loop, there are three things that you need to understand. What is the first thing? The first thing is initialization, that where the loop is going to start from, right? The second thing is that condition, where the loop is going to get over. Okay. And the third thing is that increment or decrement, which you can take it as a step size also, increment or decrement, how you want to increase the loop, how you want to decrease the loop, right? So in the for loop, in case we are using a range function, so I want to print 1 to 10, so what I used to do is that for I in range 1 comma 11, this is what you write, right? 1 comma 11. So what it does is that it automatically start from 1, it increases the sizes, it increases by 1, like 1 2 3, right, like that, and it ends at 10. It does not include 11. So here the initialization is happening by default. The condition is automatically checked with the final number that you have given. And increment decrement also is optional, you can give it, or if you do not give it, it automatically increase by 1. But in case of while loop, you have to write all these things explicitly. Okay, that is one of the reason why while loop becomes a bit difficult to use, because if you miss one of the things will become complicated. Okay, so having said that, now let's go ahead and understand what is while loop. So in Python, while loop is used to execute a block of a statement repeatedly until a given condition is satisfied. Okay, as long as the given condition is satisfied, the loop will run. The moment it becomes false, the loop will come, the loop will stop there itself. Okay, so for loop, we know when we use for loop we use it when we know the number of repetition, like it is going to work for 10 times, 20 times, like that. But while loop, it is all about based on conditions. Okay, it is based on condition. You are not sure how many times the loop will run. Okay, so in these cases you prefer while loop. Okay, and when the condition becomes false, the line immediately after the loop in the program is executed. And while loops falls under the category of indefinite iteration. You do not know how many times it is going to run. Okay, indefinite iteration means the number of times the loop is executed is not specified explicitly in advance. And that is the reason you are using while loop, because you go ahead with a condition. As long as the condition is true, the loop will work. The moment it becomes false, the loop will come to a halt. Okay, so now what is the syntax of while loop? So the syntax of while loop looks simple. You write while keyword and then you write the expression, and this expression is nothing but a condition. But before that also you need to do initialize. You need to initialize certain things, and within the statement, within the while block, you need to write a increment or decrement. Okay, these things has to be done, otherwise your loop will not work. That we will see. Okay, so statement represent all the statement indented by the same number of character spaces after a programming construct are considered to be a part of a single block of code. We know why we give indentation. Okay, and Python uses indentation as its method of grouping a statement. We already know that. And when a while loop is executed, expression is first evaluated in a Boolean context. If it is true, the loop is executed, and then the expression is checked again. If it is true, then the body is executed again, and this continues until the expression becomes false. So before you enter, the expression is being checked whether it is true or not, and if it is not true, it will stop there itself. If it is true, then it will come inside. Okay, so that is the reason it is while loop is also called as entry controlled loop. Okay, entry controlled loop, because you are checking the condition before itself. Okay, so now look at the flow chart. So here you see enter while loop, and you are checking for the condition. If the condition is true, then you are executing the statement, and after the statement has been executed, you are checking the condition again. If the condition is true, again you will do this. If the condition becomes false, then you follow this path, which is the exit while loop. You do not execute this block, which is a part of the while loop. Okay, so now have a look at the example, program to print 1 to 10 using while loop. So here what you have to do is that, see, this is what I was talking about. We are writing I equal to 1. This is the initialization. We need to tell the computer that we are going to start from 1 because our numbers start from 1. Okay, and then we are checking a condition. The condition is I less than equal to 10. As long as the value of I is less than equal to 10, then the loop should run, and then print I. And you see here this part, I equal to I plus 1. This is called increment. We need to increase the value of I also. Otherwise what will happen is that the program will never stop, right? The program will never stop. So now what I will do is that I'll take you to the editor and write the code for you. So here is my editor. Here I'll write I equal to 1, and here I will write while I less than equal to 10, and here what I will do is that I'll print I. Okay, and here what I will do is that I equal to I plus 1. And now if I run this code, you see I'm getting all the number, right? I'm getting all the number. Now the point is that let me show you how this thing is working. So for that I'll make it 5 so that you can understand it, clearly, and it also doesn't go for a long time. So now you see, for the first time the value of I was 1 because this is what we initialize. This condition I less than equal to 5, if I evaluate add to watch, I'll remove this expression. You see this condition is true. It is going inside. The value of I became 2. The condition is checked again. The condition is true again. It is printing I. It became printed 2. This time the value of I will become 3. You see it became 3. You see it became 3 here as well. This time it will print 3. The value of I will increase now. It will become 4. The condition is still true. This time the value of I will increase and become 5. The condition is still true because I have written less than equal to. But this time when it goes inside, you see the I will become 6 and the condition has become false. And now you see this yellow line will not come to line number 3. You see it did not come. Okay, now what will happen if you do not give that? Let us comment this part. Okay, let us comment this part and see now what happens. Can you see I'm getting 1 1 1, right? It will not stop because the value of I is never increasing, right? So what happens now here is that the value of I, it became, what happened here is that it came to an infinite loop, right? It came to an infinite loop, and I have to stop it, and I have to stop it, right? Because it is going again and again. So what I will do is that I will, do I have an option to stop over here? Let me start debugging. Now it will stop. Okay, so now it is stopped. Okay, here it is stopped. So now it came here, right? And if you do not write this, if I comment this part, now you see what happens. It never comes to that line, and the value of I will always remain 1, right? Because now it is happening. Why? Because I have, wait, let me debug it one more time by commenting this part. I commented while I started debugging. It was not saved. Okay, now you see. So the value of I is 1, right? The value of I is 1. It went to the next line. The value of I is still 1. The value of I is still 1. It is never increasing. The value of I is always 1. Can you see? And the condition is always true. Let me run it 4 or 5 times. Let me run it 4 or 5 times, right? See how many times I executed. I executed almost 5 6 times, and it is still 1 only. Okay, so that is the problem that happens. So you have to make sure that you write all the part, which is, this part is called as initialization. This part, you remember, this part is called as initialization. You always have an initializing part, right? You always have an initializing part. This part is the condition that anyway you won't forget because that is a part of the while loop itself. And this part is the increment decrement part, which you have to write. Otherwise what will happen is that your loop will not work properly. Okay, so this is what was all about while loop. You specify all the things explicitly. Now let's go ahead. Okay, now look at the other example, program to print the table. So here we have taken I equal to 1 because when we are printing table we need to write 1 into 2 into like and the number 5 5 5, right? And then we are asking the user to enter the number, input, enter the number, and then writing the condition I less than equal to 10 and printing the table, and I'm making sure that the value of I is increased every time, which we were not doing in case of for loop, right? We were not doing that in case of for loop. So now let me remove this and now write it again, I equal to 1, and then num equal to int, and then input, and then enter the number. Okay, enter the number, and then what I will do is that here I will write a condition while I is less than equal to 10, and here what I will do is that print num multiplied num comma, and then I'll give multiplication symbol, and then I'll again give comma, and then I'll print I, and then I'll again give comma, an inverted comma, equal to, and here I will give num multiplied by I, and here what I will do is that I equal to I plus 1, right? And now if I run this code, you see what will happen. You see it will ask me for a number. Okay, wait, it is still running the previous program. It is still running the previous program. Okay, now it is stopped. Okay, it is still running the previous program. So now if I run it again, oh, wait, let me debug the program now. So enter the number 5 and then enter 5. So now you see if I remove the debugger point and execute it, right, it will execute. If I run this, why it is still running the previous code? I'm out of that code. It is not understanding that part. Okay, so do we have an option to break? I'm not finding the option to break. Not an issue. Let us debug it once again and try to understand it. Okay, so now here if I enter 5, you see what happens. It went ahead and the value of I became increased, and it went ahead. Now 5 into 2 came. So like that it will continue, right? It will continue, and every time the value of I is increased and we are getting the value. Okay, if I'll stop this, the program will stop there. Okay, so this is what happens when you are using a while loop. In case you have to use a for loop, it was very simple. For I in range, what you had to do is that 1 comma 11, this is what you would have written, and then directly you would have written the print statement, right? Directly you would have written print statement num comma and then multiplication symbol, right? Multiplication symbol and then comma I, then comma, and then you would have written equal to. So this part was common in both of them, but the important thing is that here you are not writing I equal to 1, I equal to I plus 1, while I less than equal to 10. You're not writing that. You're just writing range function and things are working fine for you, right? But in case of while, you have to use all those things. This is an important thing that you need to understand. Okay, this is an important thing that you need to understand. If I run this again, now also it will execute, or what will happen? Now also it will execute the same thing. Can I write clear here? Can I write stop here? No, nothing is working. Run code. Why, bhai? Okay, so what I will do is that, okay, wait, now something happened, huh? Now something happened. Now if I run, now it is giving me the same thing. So what I will do is that I'll close that file, okay, and I'll open that file from here, and hopefully it should work. Okay, so let me open all the 3 files here. Okay, and now if I go here, lesson 1, this is what I had. Let me try first if it is working or not. For range in I 1 comma 11, and then print I, and if I run this, what output I am getting? Am I getting the correct output or not? No. So let me close this. Okay, let me close this, and let me go to the my open it once again. So let me go to this file, and then not there. Okay, Visual Studio Code, and then Python files, and here I'll open it again. This time it should work. Okay, now if I run this code, I should not get that stupid thing again. I don't want that. Okay, let me just run it one more time and see. Yes, now it is working fine. Everything is perfect now. Okay, so that is the problem with the infinite loop. You saw how it was behaving in a weird way. Okay, so that was all about while loop. So now we understood while loop. The only thing you need to understand is that make sure that you are writing the initialization, you are always writing the condition in a proper way, and you have this increment decrement. Otherwise you saw what can happen. Okay, don't miss that part. Next is that infinite while loop. So what happened earlier was an infinite loop. It never stopped. It just went on and on and on and on. So if the given condition, if the condition is given in the while loop, never becomes false, right? What we wrote is that while I less than equal to 10, and we started with I equal to 1, and we never increased the value of I to 10. So always the value of I was less than 10 only, right? So then the while loop will never terminate, and it turns into an infinite while loop. Any non-zero value in the while loop indicates an always true condition. Non-zero value means you write while 1, right? It becomes a infinite while loop, where 0 indicates the always false condition. If you write while 0, it will always false. This type of approach is useful if you want our program to run continuously in the loop without any disturbance. If you want to repeat it again and again, then in those cases it is fine, but if you do not want to, then you should not do it, otherwise you will be in trouble. Okay, look at the example over here. Look at the example over here. Like you see, while 1, okay, print hi, we are inside the infinite while loop, and it will keep on doing it again and again. The second thing is that where I var equal to 1 and var is not equal to 2, and we are not increasing the value of var here. See, we just have only two lines inside the while loop. I equal to input, enter the number, and we are entering entered values percentile d and then percentile I. Now this is formatting that we will see, okay, that we will see. You do not worry about that. But here we never increase the value of I, so from 1 to 2, so it will never become 2, it will always be 1 is not equal to 2. That is always true, and it will keep on executing it. Okay, the third thing that you can do is that you can write while true, and that also becomes a infinite loop. Now I am not going to run this again for you. Why? Because again I'll have to close the Visual Studio and come back. Okay, so that's the reason I'm not doing it. Okay, so this is how the infinite while loop works. Infinite means it will keep on going again and again, again and again, again and again, infinite times. Using else with while loop. So we have already seen using else with for loop, right? When the else part was getting executed, it was getting executed when the loop was getting exhausted, right? So here also Python allows us to use the else statement with the while loop, and the else block is executed when the condition given in the while statement becomes false, right? When the condition becomes false, it means what? The loop has exhausted then it once. So like for loop, if the while loop is broken using the break statement, and the else part will not be executed. The moment you have an abrupt ending to a loop, okay, which is with the help of break, then the else part will never get executed, and the statement present after the else block will be executed. The else statement is optional to use with the while loop. Yes, it is, of course, because we used while loop 2 times and we never used else loop, so it is not compulsory. You want to do it, you do it, otherwise you don't do it. Look at the example here. I equal to 1 while I less than equal to 5, print I equal to I plus 1, and in the else part we are writing the while loop exhausted. Let us do that and check it. Okay, so let me remove that, and here I will write I equal to 1, and then here I will write while I less than equal to 10, okay, or I less than equal to 5, and here I'll give colon, and here I'll write y, print I, and here I will write I equal to I plus 1, and here I will write else, and here I will write print the condition became false. The condition I less than equal to 5 became false. Okay, became false. Now if I execute this, if I do debug of it, okay, you see when it is running. Okay, now you see, so for the first time the value of I is going to be what? The value of I is 1. If the condition I less than 5 is true, it went ahead, the value of I became 2, the condition is still true, it went ahead 3, correct, 4, 5, the condition is still true. This time when it will go, the condition became false. Now you see where it is going to the else part. Okay, it is going to the else part. So this is how the else part is used. In case you use a break statement, that we already know by now what is break statement, it is used to do the abrupt ending, then it will not happen. Like look at this example. I equal to 1, I less than equal to 5, print I equal to I plus 1, and if I equal to 3, break. In that case it will not happen, because the moment the break statement happens, it will jump that part. Okay, so let me write this code. Here only I will make the changes. If I equal to 3, okay, then what I will do is that I will use break, and here I will add one more statement after this. Okay, here I will write print after the while loop. Okay, after the while loop. Now here you see, earlier you saw that it was going to the else statement, right? Now you see what happens. If I run this code, debug it again, now you see, so for the first value the condition is true, right? This if condition will be false. This condition I equal to 3, if I'll add, it is false, right? This time the value of I became 2, this condition is still false, right? Now this time the value of I became 3, the condition is true, right? Now you see it is going there, and our previous condition is still true, I less than 5, you see that is still true. But now what will happen is that since it is a break, so it will break the loop, and it will go directly to line number 9, and we will not execute this part of the else part will not execute. Why? Because the condition has not become false, it is an abrupt ending to the program, right? So after 1 and 2 we are getting after the while loop. Okay, so this is what happens with the while loop and with the break statement. Now I want to show you one more thing is that I want, what if I do not write this? What if I do not write this and then try to run the code? Now you see what happens. Can you see I is not defined, right? So it means what? Since you are using a condition with I has to be defined, and this is called initialization. You have to initialize it, you have to give a point where it is going to start. Okay, so this is an important concept that you need to understand. Okay, so we saw while with else with the while loop. So in the above code, when the break statement encountered, and the while loop stopped its execution and skipped the else statement. Okay, so remember, else will always be used only when the program goes its normal flow, the condition becomes false, okay, or it reaches the maximum iteration that it has to go in case of for loop, then only the else will happen. Any abrupt ending, else will not get executed. Talking about Fibonacci series. So what is Fibonacci series? So Fibonacci series is a very important series. Here it is like 0, 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, and then 13, and then 21, and then 34. So what happens is that you have the first two number, the next number is the sum of the previous two. So 0 plus 1 is 1. Now the previous two is this one, so 1 plus 1 becomes 2. Then 2 plus 1 becomes 3. 3 plus 2 becomes 5. 5 plus 3 becomes 8. Right? 5 plus 8 becomes 13. 13 plus 8 becomes 21. 21 plus 13 becomes 34. So the sum of the previous two number is called that is the next term, that is called as Fibonacci series, okay, which is a very important series which often comes in the interview also and in the examination also, okay. So here we are asking the user how many terms of the Fibonacci series you want to print, okay. Then we have taken two variables, a equal to 0, b equal to 1, and then we have taken count equal to 0 because this count has to run till the number of terms that the user has entered. The first thing that we are checking is that if the user has entered a negative term, then we are asking him, please enter a valid integer, right? That is the first check. Second thing is that if the user has entered only 1, then we will just print 0 because we don't need to print anything. We already have 0 in like a, which is having 0 value in it. So we are printing a. Fibonacci series up to limit is just printed a, right? But if that is also not true, then we have to print, right? If it is not 1, anything more than 1, then we have to actually print it. So what we are doing here is that we went into the else part and we wrote print Fibonacci sequence. Now you see in the while loop, we are running a condition count is less than equal to terms. Count, we initialize it to 0, and terms is the number which the user has given. Let's suppose 10. Now c equal to a plus b. A was the first term, b was the second term that we gave, 0 and 1. These are the two values that we get. We already got, and then c equal to 0 plus 1 we did. Then we interchange the value, a equal to b, b equal to c, because a, b, c, right? C equal to a plus b, right? So right now when we talked about d, then this should be, these two sums should happen, right? So in that case c is equal to, what will be c? D equal to c plus b, right? D equal to c plus b. So we need to interchange. That is the reason I made the first term, I gave the value to the first term, I gave the value of second term to first term, and I gave the value of the second term to the first term, okay. So what I did, okay, let me explain it one more time. So let's suppose we have 0, 1, and then we got 1, which is c, right? Next time when I want to find this, my a should be this one and my b should be this one, isn't it? My a should be this one, so my b is becoming a, my b is becoming a, and my c is becoming b. This is what I'm doing. My a is becoming b, okay, my b is become my sorry, I am also confused by saying my b is becoming a and my c is becoming b, okay. That is the reason I am interchanging the value, updating the value, and then increasing the counter also at the same time, so that we can get the Fibonacci series. Now let me write the code and show it to you so that you can understand it in a better way. So here what we will be doing is that first of all we'll be writing count equal to, or terms equal to int, or input, enter the number of terms, okay, that you want. Now what I'll be doing is that I'll be taking count variable, count equal to 0. Then I'm having a equal to 0 and I'm having b equal to 1. Now I'm checking here if terms is less than 0. If terms is less than 0, then what I will do is that I'll give him a message, print please enter a valid number, okay. Then elif, I'll write elif what? Elif, the condition will be terms equal to 1. If the terms is equal to 1, printf Fibonacci series till what? Till terms, okay. And then I'll put a colon here, okay. I'll put a colon here like this, okay. I'll put a colon here like this, okay. And then what I will do is that here I'll print what? I'll print a. I already have that in the a. In the else part, what I will do is that in the else part, here all the things will start, right? Here all the things will start. So here I will write while count is less than terms, the value of count is less than terms. Now here what will happen is that c equal to a plus b, okay. And before that I should print all those things, right? Print, I'll copy paste it now. Why to type it again? I'll copy paste it, that makes more sense. right? Fibonacci series till this term is here. I'll give exactly the same thing, okay, and I'll Fibonacci series till term c equal to a plus b. A will become b, okay, no semicolon. B equal to c, and then what I will do is that I'll print c, and here what I will do is that here I will increase the value of count equal to count plus 1. Okay, now let us run the program with all the three input. First of all, I entered a negative number, so it is giving me please enter a valid number. Then I'll enter a value 1. Okay, so it should give me 0. Then I will enter 10. So what should I get is that I should get 0 0 0 0. Okay, so what I will do is that I'll take this part x and I'll print it after, wait, I'll print it after before the while loop, because we do not want that many times that is to come, right? That, okay. Now let's suppose if I'm running it and it asking me the term. So now if I do this, what will happen is that I'm getting and I'm getting. So what I will do is that I'll use separator over here and equal to give a space. That makes more sense so that I can get in a single line. Okay, so now you see I'm getting 1 2 3 5 8 13 21 34 50 55 89. Okay, so the first 10 terms that I'm getting is that I'm not getting 0 and then I'm not getting 1, right? Now why I'm not getting 0 and 1 is that, okay, because here what I will do is that instead of C, what I will do is that I'll print A. Now you see what happens. Now you see what happens. Now I'm getting 0, I'm getting 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13, 21, 34, 55. Right, now I'm getting A. And if I remove this line from here and I print it here, okay, if I print it here, then you see what will happen. Then you see what will happen. If I'll give, now I'll give the exact 0, 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13, 20, 21, 34. Right, this is what my Fibonacci series is, and this is what I am getting. Okay, so now why did I do those changes? Why? Because earlier what I was doing is that earlier I was printing C. Earlier I was printing C. So when I was printing C, it was the sum. So 0 plus 1 was equal to 1. So it was giving me started from 1. Then what I did is that I printed A, but I printed A later on after adding, after swapping. So that is the reason 0 got swapped with 1, because 0, A was 0 and B was 1. So I already made A equal to B. So 0 was lost, right? That is the reason I'm printing A first, and then I'm doing all the other things. Okay, and this way what I'm doing is that I'm getting the right result. Okay, so this is what I have to do. As you can see over here as well, this is what we are doing. So first we are printing A, and then we are ending separator, and then after that we are changing all the values, right? So this is for finding the sum next time, and then updating the previous two values, updating the values and increasing the counter, so that the counter stops as soon as we reach 10 or 15, whatever the user entered. Okay, so I hope you understood this part, what we did over here. Okay, there is another way of doing this also. The other way of doing is that, like what you can do is that you can directly print C also. With C also you can get, but the problem with C is that before that you have to print 0 and 1. So let's suppose that if I want to tell you that part, how it can be done, in that case what I have to do is that Fibonacci series here, and after that what I have to do is that I have to print here, print, and here I will have to write A comma B, A comma B. Okay, I have to print A and B beforehand itself, and then here I'll write end equal to, and now here also if I will print C now, then also I'll get the correct result. Then also I'll get the correct result, but this time I'll be I'll be printing the C after this line. Now you see, then also I'll get the correct result. So here if I give 10, now here also I'm getting 0 1 1, right? And after 1 I have to get a space, which I'm not getting, right? So what I have to do is that after that I will add a space. Why don't I do it, right? After A comma B, okay, A and B, and then end, add a space like this. Now it will anyway work. See, did it happen? Yes, it happened. Now you see, can we see we are getting exactly the same result, right? 0 1 1 2 3 5 8 13 21 34 55 89, right? This is what we were getting here as well, right? This is what we were getting here as well, 0 1 1, right? So it is working, it is working absolutely fine. So it's not like hard and fast rule, you just need to use the logic. I have done both the ways. I have done with updating the values of a and b before also. That is the reason half of the things was from there, half of the thing was from there. But if you do not want, you just understand this part. If you do not want to hard print it, you want to get all the values from your logic, then this is what you should do. This is what you should do. Okay, this is what you should do. You print a, and then you update the values. Now if I run it and show it to you one more time, now you see, can you see 0 1 1 2 3 5 8 11 5 8 13 21 34? This is what we were getting, right? So this is what we were getting, and these are the first 10 terms of the Fibonacci series. Okay, so I hope that you understood what is Fibonacci series. The sum is it is the next term is the sum of the previous two, and why we are doing this, I hope you understood now. Okay, you understood now why we are doing it. Okay, so you want me to do dry run of it, or you understood it, or let me do the dry run in the while part. Okay, but this time I will run it on only for 5 terms. Okay, for only for 5 terms. Now you see, so the value of a is 0. I'll remove all these expressions. All these expressions are not required, right? So first time the value of a is 0, the value of b is 1, and then we are writing count is 0 and terms is 1, terms is 5. Okay, so c equal to a plus b. What is the value of c? C became 1, then a became b, so a will get updated by 1 and b will become c, so b will also become 1 because that was the value of c. Now the count will become 1. From 0 it became 1. Then it went ahead, then it printed a, the 1 got printed, 1 will get printed now, so you got 0 and 1. This time c is equal to a plus b, the value of c became, now you see c will become 2, right? C will become 2. Now the moment it has become 2, so now we need to update the previous two values, because that is what happens. So now a will become b. A will have the value of 1, which is already having, right? And now b will have the value of c, which will become 2, right? Now the count of value became 2. Then we came again, right? Then we printed the value of a. The current value of a is 1, so we printed once again. Now this time we got c is equal to a plus b, so a was 1, b was 2, we got 3, right? Now we need to update the next two values, and this is what we are doing, right? And this is how the loop goes on and on. Okay, so now I hope you understood what we are doing. We are just updating, because in general, if I have to write, we write like this, fn equal to fn minus 1 plus fn minus 2. Now the new term is the sum of the previous two term, right? So the moment you have 0 1, now the next term is 1. Now in order to get the next term, earlier you were having this as a and this as b. Now in order to get this, and this is was your c, but now your c has moved here, right? So similarly your b should move here, right? So this will become b, and your a should move here, this should become a. That is the reason what you are doing is that you are writing a equal to b and you are writing c equal to b, so that you can update the previous value, so that it goes on in a sequence. Okay, this is what we have done, and this is all about the while loop and the Fibonacci series. Okay, so we understood while loop. The important thing in while loop is that you must have an initialization. This is an important thing. We must have an initialization, and with the while keyword you must write the condition. Okay, and do not forget to increment decrement after executing the statement. If you forget that, it will be an infinite loop. Okay, so that's all in this video. Thank you so much.